Hello, our viewers. My name is Lucy Kamau. I'm born again. Christ is Lord. This evening, we have the teacher of the word, and we want to continue with the series about priesthood. This is part 3 of priesthood. And because he's here, he's going to guide us on how we are going to go about it. If it is your first time to watch this program, you can like, share, and subscribe so that next time when you are on air, YouTube will notify you. Karibu sana. Welcome, Mwalimu.
Asante, Lucy, I am grateful for this yet another opportunity to host me so that we may learn together about priesthood. Now, priesthood is a very, very important topic that each one of us needs to understand so that, our practices and our behavior in this time and season is aligned to the priesthood in which we are under. And so I will delve into that right away. But before I do that, my name is James. I am Christ's ambassador here on earth. And Lucy who is my host. She's also my wife. She's also my co-worker in Christ and also a sister in Christ.
Amen.
Lucy, I want us to delve into our topic today. And I want us to start from Numbers chapter number 18.
Okay.
Numbers chapter number 18. I want us to read from verse 1 and verse 2. And then maybe we will be moving elsewhere within the same chapter because I want us to understand exactly what priesthood we are talking about here.
Okay.
Yes.
We are reading Numbers chapter 18. This is the New King James Version. Verse 1. Then the Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons and your father's house with you shall bear the iniquity related to the sanctuary. And you and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity associated with your priesthood. Also bring with you your brethren of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, that they may be joined with you and serve you while you and your sons are with you before the tabernacle of witness."
Now, very important. Now, we understand now from that text that God is speaking to Aaron and is telling Aaron that him and his sons were to serve as the high priests in this priesthood that now he has introduced. And the Levites, or the children from this Levitical tribe, were supposed to come and serve with Aaron as their chief priest under him. And they were supposed to be serving this within the tabernacle of meeting. Right?
Yes.
So that basically was the structure of the priesthood that we are calling the priesthood according to Levi, or the Aaronic priesthood. Now, the Aaronic priesthood is the same as the Levitical priesthood, because Aaron is an individual or one individual who is also within the tribe of Levi. Right? So he's within the larger tribe of Levi, but he himself comes out now as the high priest, according to the instruction that God is giving him. Yes.
So the Levites and Aaron, they are one tribe.
Yeah, Aaron is actually within the tribe of Levi, right? So the tribe is Levi, but Aaron is, an individual who comes from that tribe, right?
Yes.
Just like actually Moses. Moses also is actually a Levite. He comes from the loins of Levi, right?
Yes.
So, and we know that actually Aaron is his brother. So, and so basically that was the structure of this priesthood, whose head was Aaron and whose other priests were the children from this tribe of Levi.
Okay.
Yes.
Meaning Aaron was the high priest and the Levites were helping him in the work in the tabernacle.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, so basically that is what we have been introduced to. But I want us to fast forward, go to verse number 21, so that we understand, because now they have been given a task. How are they supposed to, do their task that God has already given? And notice, very important, that it is God that has actually given Aaron that charge over the priesthood. And he has also told him to tell the Levites that they were supposed to come and serve under him. That should be very important. I don't want us to lose that, because we'll carry it forward to other areas that we are going to be reading, so that we are able to be grounded.
Okay.
Verse number 21 of the same chapter.
Yes. Verse number 21. Behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tithes in Israel as an inheritance in return for the work which they perform, the work of the tabernacle of meeting.
Hold it there. So we are being told here that the Levites, who we are now, remember in verse number 1 and verse 2, we have been introduced to the Levites who are supposed to come and serve under Aaron.
Yes.
Now we are being told how they were supposed to be facilitated to do that. And we have been told that they have been given tithe for the work that they were to do, the work of the tabernacle.
Meaning that was a wage.
That was actually a wage that was to be given to this tribe of Levi because of the work that they were doing, the work of the tabernacle.
Okay. Chapter number 22.
No, verse number 22.
Sorry, verse number 22. Hereafter, the children of Israel shall not come near the tabernacle of meeting, lest they bear sin and die.
Hold it there. Again, we are being told, because now the Levites were the ones that were to represent the children of Israel to God. They themselves, the children of Israel, were not supposed to come near the tabernacle of meeting.
Okay.
Right? Why? Because they have a representative. All right?
Yes.
Or a going between. These Levites were going between the children of Israel and God. And that is why the instruction here is that they should not come near the tabernacle. Why? Because they have somebody who is representing them in the tabernacle.
Okay. Verse number 23. But the Levites shall perform the work of the tabernacle of meeting, and they shall bear their iniquity.
They shall bear their iniquity. In other words, the Levites will bear the iniquity of the children of Israel.
Okay.
Yes.
It shall be a statute forever. Thereafter your generation, and that among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance.
It is very clear. It is the children of Israel that are being given this instruction. It is not just anybody else. Right?
Yes.
Why? Because they were the ones who were supposed to be represented in issues concerning God by these Levites.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
Yes.
Verse number 24. For the tithe of the children of Israel, which they offer up as a heave offering to the Lord, I have given to the Levites as an inheritance. Therefore, I have said to them, among the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance.
Very clear here. The Levites were actually given tithe as their inheritance. In other words, they were not to share in the inheritance that the other 11 tribes was to be given when they crossed over the Jordan. Because the other ones were actually given pieces of land. And if you want to understand that, you can read from the book of Joshua. Joshua is giving all those tribes, in the 11 tribes, their portions. But for the Levites, they were not to share in the inheritance. Why? Because their inheritance was supposed to be the tithe from the 11 tribes.
Okay, what I'm getting here, the instructions are given to the children of Israel.
Exactly.
So the Gentiles of those days were not among the instructions.
Exactly.
All right.
That's why it's very clear. By the way, when you read that portion of the Bible, it tells you clearly how the tithe was supposed to be appropriated and by whom it was supposed to be given from. Because it's clear that the 11 other tribes were supposed to give their tithe to this one tribe of Levi, right? Because of the work that they were doing, the work of the tabernacle. And because they were the ones who are representing them to God.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So that was verse number 24.
Yes.
So it's very clear here again that we see now why now tithe was being given. Now if we now fast forward again to the book of Hebrews. The book of Hebrews chapter number 7. In the book of Hebrews chapter number 7, maybe I will request just we read from verse number 1, because there is an element that is being mentioned here, the element that we have just looked at, which is the element of the tithe that will be mentioned here. But I want you to realize one thing, that the writer of Hebrews at this point is not talking, his subject is not the tithe, but there is something that he wants to show us. But then let's read so that we understand.
We're in Hebrews chapter number 7 from verse 1.
Yes.
For this Melchizedek, king of Salem,
Yes.
priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being translated king of righteousness, and then also king of Salem, meaning king of peace, without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like the Son of God, remains a priest continually.
Now, again, we are told that this Melchizedek remains a priest continually. But then we have the other priest that we have been introduced to in Numbers chapter number 18.
Yes.
And that was the priest that was actually, headed by Aaron. And the other Levites were actually under him. But now the writer of Hebrews is trying to explain to us about this one man Melchizedek. And we know that story is actually gotten from Genesis chapter number 14, where Abraham is coming from the war and he meets this king, Melchizedek,
Yes.
while he's coming from the defeat of the kings, and he blesses. Now, Melchizedek blesses Abraham, and then after that, it is when Abraham gives him a tenth.
So the blessings first.
It is a blessings first. But what have we realized in the past in our religious systems? You are told, give so that God will bless you.
Yes.
But in the case of Abraham and Melchizedek, Abraham is blessed by Melchizedek, and thereafter Abraham gives him. So he is not, now Abraham is not enticing this man Melchizedek so that he may bless him. No. He actually, Melchizedek first blesses him, and then Abraham gives him a tenth of the spoils. I want you to not to forget.
All right.
Let's continue. Yes.
Verse number 4. Now consider how great this man was.
Which man? The man is still Melchizedek, right? Lest we get lost along the way.
Yeah.
The man that he's talking about here is still Melchizedek. Now we are being told, consider how great this man.
Was.
Now, why the greatness? Because Abraham has given him a tenth. And the writer is going to be explaining to us why that became very important.
I repeat verse number 4.
Yes.
Now consider how great this man was, to whom even the patriarch Abraham gave a tenth of the spoils. And indeed those who are the sons of Levi, who received the priesthood.
Who received the priesthood? Now remember, we have been told who received the priesthood. Now it's very clear from the numbers that we have already read,
Yes.
that priesthood was given to Aaron and the Levites.
Yes.
Yes. Just go back.
And indeed those who are of the sons of Levi,
Of the sons of Levi,
who received the priesthood, have a commandment to receive tithe from the people according to the law.
According to the law. So they were supposed to be given the tithe. And what was the tithe for? The tithe was for the work that they were doing in the tabernacle.
Yes. That is from their brethren.
From now, the writer is very categorical. From whom these Levites were to receive the tithe.
Though they have come from the loins of Abraham.
So though they have come from the loins of Abraham,
but he whose genealogy is not derived from them received tithe from Abraham and blessed him who had the promises.
Who had the promise? Now, who had the promises? It is Abraham that had the promises of God. Right? And now we realize that this Melchizedek is blessing somebody who the other Israelites held with very high esteem. Why? Because he's the one who was holding the promises of God.
Yes.
That is how serious they held Abraham. Right? But now we see something that is, that is unique. That now Melchizedek blesses Abraham. Right? And Abraham gives him a tithe. Though now the children of Levi are not born at that time. They are still in the loins of Abraham. Right? So it is like they also gave tithe. Why? Because they were in Abraham. And we are going to see why he's bringing that analogy.
Okay.
Yes.
Verse number 7. Now beyond all contradiction, the lesser is blessed by the better.
Now beyond all contradiction, the lesser is blessed by the better. Now, if we now just hold it there, because I don't want us to pull other stories to come and feel what we are supposed to be listening. Because here we are supposed to be listening to what the writer is talking about.
Yes.
So who is the lesser and who is the better in this story here? Of course, we have been shown because Melchizedek blessed Abraham and Abraham gave him a tenth, it means that Melchizedek
Is better.
And Abraham
Is the lesser.
Yes.
Verse number 8. Here mortal men receive tithes, but there he receives them of whom it is witnessed that he lives. Even Levi, who receives tithe, paid tithe through Abraham, so to speak. For he was still in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him.
Now, there is a parallel that is drawing here. Now, remember that in verse number 7, he says, the lesser is blessed by the better.
Yes.
Now, he now goes back to reminisce on the story that he has just been giving, right? Of now the Levites and now Melchizedek, who has now been brought into the picture. So he says that now this Melchizedek, maybe you could just read it. Just read that verse number 8.
Number 8. Here mortal men receive tithes.
Here, in the case of the Levitical priesthood.
Okay.
Not here. I mean,
But I thought when the writer says here, it is here in my church, my pastor, he's the one who receives. Or what is it?
Let's get it from the Bible. Maybe we can read it from the Amplified Bible. And I will request that we read from the Amplified verse 7 and verse 8.
Okay. I'm reading from Amplified Bible. Verse 7. Yet it is beyond all contradiction that it is the lesser person who is blessed by the greater one. Furthermore,
yes.
Here in the Levitical priesthood, tithes are received by men who are subject to death.
Tithes are received by men who are subject to death. Now, who are these men who receive tithes? Remember we read that story from Numbers chapter 18 from verse 21. And we were told that in the law, it is only the Levites who are supposed to receive the tithe.
Yes.
Because that was their inheritance. So, and we know that they are mortal.
While there,
in
in the case of
Melchizedek,
they are received by one of whom it is testified that he lives perpetually.
it is received by one who is a witness that he lives perpetually. Why? Because the genealogy of Melchizedek is not well known, right? So he's thought that, it is thought that he lived perpetually. But that is not the case. The case is that there are no records that were found of his genealogy. So if there are no records, then it means it is not known when he starts and when he ends. All right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's continue. I wish we could continue with now our Amplified Bible. Let's just continue with our Amplified Bible. We are now in verse number 9. Verse number 9.
Yes, number 9. A person might even say that Levi, the father of priests tribe, himself, who received tithe, the tenth, paid tithe through Abraham.
Yeah, it can be deduced that Levi, because he was in the loins of Abraham at this time in the story of Genesis, can be assumed that he actually paid tithe through Abraham, so to speak. So what does that mean to us? That now, if you look at the seniority, we see now the Levites are down here. Then there is Abraham, because they were in Abraham.
Yes.
And Abraham is giving tithe to Melchizedek. So Melchizedek is up here. Because according to verse number 7, he says, the lesser is blessed by the better. So who is the better in this case? The better in this case is Melchizedek.
Yes.
Then
Abraham.
Then the Levites, because they were in the loins of Abraham.
Verse number 10. For he was still in the loins of his forefather Abraham when Melchizedek met him. That is Abraham.
Yeah, he has explained that, and I don't think I need to belabor that. Now, verse number 11.
Yes. Now, if perfection, a perfect fellowship between God and the worshipper, had been attainable by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people were given the law, why was it further necessary that there should arise another different kind of priest, one after the order of Melchizedek, rather than appointed after the order and rank of Aaron?
Look at that. Look at that. So again, we are being told if perfection was through this Levitical priesthood, right? Then it means that there was no need for another priesthood to arise. Because it was already perfect.
Yes.
But then we are told, if perfection were through the Levitical priesthood, because under it, the people received the law, because the law was given through the Levites, there was no further need for any other priesthood to arise, which was now coming in the order of this one man, Melchizedek. And I want you to note, it is in the order of. What is the order? The order here is that his genealogy is not known. All right? Yes, that is the order. And please, I know some people have assumed that Melchizedek is Christ. It can never be further from the truth.
Yes.
Melchizedek is not Christ. Melchizedek was a king of a place that was called Salem, which later became Jerusalem. Right? So he is not. Now, the priesthood that is of Melchizedek is in the order in which genealogy is actually not known.
Yes.
All right? And we can be able to tell here that it was ranked higher than the Levitical priesthood. Yes.
So, verse number...
that was verse number 11. Verse number 12.
12. For when there is a change in the priesthood,
for when there is a change in the priesthood,
there is of necessity an alteration of the law.
There is of necessity an alteration of the law
concerning priesthood as well.
Concerning priesthood as well. Now, one of the elements that we have touched briefly is the tithe.
Yes.
Because tithe was actually an element that was incorporated into the Levitical priesthood. And we have seen why the tithe was being given. It was given as a wage for the work that they were doing in the tabernacle.
Yes.
So when that law is changing, now I want you to be very keen here. When that law is changing, the law that guided the Levitical priesthood, it means even this one element that guided them was also taken out of the way.
Yes.
Please, could you read that verse number 12? Yes.
For when there is a change in the priesthood, there is of necessity an alteration of the law concerning priesthood as well.
There is an alteration of the law concerning priesthood as well. So what does that tell us? Verse number 12 tells us two main things. That the priesthood changed.
Yes.
And so it necessitated the law to also change.
Yes.
So, and one of the elements within the law was the tithe.
Yes.
Meaning that if the law changed, then tithing was also changed. So we don't have tithing in the new Melchizedek priesthood because the tithe was only within the Levitical priesthood. Somebody may ask, maybe, I can already see a question coming, but we see Abraham giving tithe to Melchizedek.
Yes.
Was that before the law or after the law?
Before the law.
It was before the law.
Yes.
And now the writer is talking about within the law.
The law.
Okay, because the Levitical priesthood was the priesthood that came with the law. Right?
Yes.
According to verse number 11.
Yes.
So we cannot talk about that tithe thing. But by the way, that was not a practice. One thing that we also need to know. That was not a practice. It is a one-off. Right? Unlike now, in the case of the Levites.
Yes.
It was supposed to be a wage. Wage is given, regularly.
Yes.
It is a practice that a wage has to be given, within a particular given period of time.
Yes.
Right? And we'll be looking at that maybe when we'll be coming to tithing. But you realize here, it's very important that what is coming out here is that we had the Levitical priesthood, whose high priest was Aaron and his sons, and whose other priests were actually the other Levites.
Yeah.
Right? And now we have been introduced to another priesthood which is in the order of Melchizedek.
Yes.
And there is something that is also coming out very clearly, that when the priesthood changed, there is also of necessity the change of the law.
Yes.
I want you to, if you forget everything else, please don't forget this, that the law, the priesthood changed, and so that necessitated the change of the law. I hope it is clear, brethren.
Yes, yes.
Because the moment we understand this, then as we progress to our next level, where now we'll want to understand which is this now Melchizedek priesthood, we'll be able to be clear on where we stand. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. James.
Yes.
Thank you for that episode. I hope my learners, you have captured something, because we started in the book of Numbers and we saw how the priesthood was. We saw that the high priest was Aaron, and he was told to come with his brethren, the Levites, to help him in the work of the tabernacle. And we saw that the other tribes, the 11 tribes, were to give a tenth for the wages that the Levites were performing in the tabernacle. We have also seen another priesthood in the book of Hebrews in the order of Melchizedek. And we have seen in this case that Abraham gave a tenth of the spoils, not of his blessings, but of the spoils after the defeat. And we also see that Melchizedek blesses Abraham before even Abraham thinks of giving him the tenth. So it is Melchizedek blessing Abraham first, then Abraham gives a tenth. And we have also noted that was not a repeated thing. It was one-off. So he did it one-off. And this one, he did it before the law was given, because we read that in Genesis 14, when Abraham gave that tenth. So it was not a practice, it is not in the law. And we have seen also that the priesthood was changed. And after the priesthood was changed, there was necessity of the law to be changed. Yes, as we continue with this series of priesthood, I know the episode is getting better and better, and I know we are learning. Let us continue to tune in so that we may continue to learn. Like this program, share and subscribe so that you may be notified every time that we are on air. Thank you for tuning in. We thank you for your support. Till next time, we say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.